before 3 o'clock this afternoon. Join us on the panel. Josh Kakose will be in the studio very shortly, and I want to tell you about a special guest we've got as well on the show. His name's James Acraman. He's won 4 World Championships, European titles and national titles as well. I'll tell you more about him a bit later in the show, what sport he's from, to come here on Saturday Sport. He's coming in at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Baby Love here on Hcr 104Fm. Saturday Sport to 6 o'clock this evening. It's 3:15 on a rather overcast day of sports. Quite a lot of the cricket still going ahead. Some games called off due to the rain. We'll touch upon that a bit later in the show from around Cambridgeshire this afternoon. Special guest time now on the show this afternoon. We've had him on before. But if you've just joined us, if you're a new listener to HCR, then of course this guest is new to you. His name is James Acraman, and he's involved in sports stacking. He's a world medalist, UK record holder, a winner of 18 WSSA World Championships, and of course sports stacking medals. And he's featured as well in the Guinness Book of World Records, I'm told, as well, which is absolutely fantastic news. James, welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much. It is great to be back again, especially for the third time.
Absolutely brilliant. Well, we're grateful to have you back on the airwaves this afternoon, so thank you very much for coming up to see us this afternoon on the show. It's great as always. And thanks to also your coach, i.e. your dad as well.
Yeah.
So how you doing? You all right?
Yeah, I'm very good. It's great to be back here again, Isaac, yeah.
Brilliant. Let's just first talk about how it all started for you guys, and how you got into sports stacking. But first of all, before we chat about that, James, I want to know what sports stacking is all about. Just tell us a bit more in depth how sports stacking works and what it's all about.
Sports stacking is a sport where you have 12 or 9 specially designed cups and you stack them into 3 different sequences as fast as you can in a 3-3, 3-6-3 and a cycle stack.
Absolutely brilliant. And you're the coach, aren't you? I've forgotten your name. You know? Roger, that's it. Roger Ackerman. You're the coach. How long have you been coaching James as well?
Well, actually, I haven't been coaching James. James has been coaching me. So
there we go.
I really just call myself a manager, not a coach, because I'm learning from the sports stackers. So I just help them get to the World Championships. I look for the fastest ones going. I give a bit of help where I can, and then try and help them to get to the World Championships or start running the UK Championships as well. Brilliant. So, but they actually started really because I'm actually more of a badminton player. I really enjoy badminton, and I wanted to play James at badminton. So a really good friend of ours is a UK coach for badminton. So I arranged for him to work with James to teach him badminton.
Sure.
And James, do you want to take on from there?
Yeah, sure. Philip was trying to help me with getting to learn different ways with hand-eye coordination. So he had a fishing rod with a shuttlecock attached to it, and when I kept trying to aim for it, I still kept trying too hard and then ended up keep missing it. Then luckily he had something up his sleeve, which was sports stacking to help me with my hand-eye coordination. So I decided to give it a try, and afterwards I just said, well, you know what, I'd actually like to drop out of badminton and continue with sports stacking, as I can see myself getting somewhere with this sport.
So tell us more about how sports stacking came into your life. How did that all come about?
Yeah. As I mentioned in the Draw My Life video, I had no interest in any other traditional sports because my dad was trying to get me into like football, rugby, cricket, tennis, you name whichever traditional sport. I would absolutely fluke at it a lot. So after I got into sports stacking, it just really changed my life in many ways.
What made you want to go into speed stacking? What made you attracted to this type of sport, James?
I actually first saw the TV advert of it back in 2005 or 6 time. I wanted to get a set, but they were really expensive back then. But after I got introduced to it, I decided to... my mum actually found a set of speed stacks pretty cheap in the Entertainer. So I saw some YouTube videos of other people doing sports stacking at a quick amount of time, and I was thinking, wow, I can't even tell if the video's been sped up or not. So I got a set and I had no instructional DVD, so I was doing the 363 first, but I was doing it the wrong way round. So my friends on YouTube luckily told me I was not doing the right style. So I saw some videos of how to do sports stacking properly. So I went over it numerous times, and afterwards I nailed it. And afterwards...
Sure. But what is it you actually really enjoy about sports stacking?
Oh, sorry. What I enjoy about sports stacking is mainly that you can get to meet new people who are who feel the exact same way about you or myself about the sport, and how you could even work really hard in order to win medals or even a sports stacking trophy. And it's really just fascinating.
It is a great community, actually. When you go to the World Championships, everyone's really, really competitive there. But if they see you do well, they'll be cheering and supporting you. And you don't get that in any other sport that I've seen. And it's quite unique in that way. And that's the only reason I was prepared to become a manager in the sport, was because I was really, really impressed with all the sports stackers there.
No, absolutely. It's absolutely a fantastic sport to be part of. Certainly a family and community-based sport, which is absolutely brilliant as well. Talking of the sped up of videos, I know a lot of people do think speed stacking, sports stacking is sped up and it seems a bit unreal. It's not actually happening. But what we'll do, just to prove a point, we will post a video online after the show of James this afternoon live in the studio, showing a sequence of sports stacking, and we'll put it on there to view to see how this all works, because I know it's a bit difficult over radio to see how it all works, and we'll put it up just to show it's not sped up and how quickly it can be done. But I've got to ask you, from starting out to getting where you are now with all these UK records, championships, you name it, you've got it. How long has that time frame taken you to get where you want to be?
Is it with where I first begun sports stacking, or is it after
when you first begun sports stacking? You started getting interested, you started trying out some sequences, getting so engrossed in the sport you wanted to carry on. How long has that taken you to get to even a UK championship? Well, how long did that take?
With the first world record I got was in the Team UK 363 time relay, which was back in 2013, so that was 4 years after I was stacking. But when I came to getting the 333, 363 and cycle UK records, it took me 5 years to get to that level.
Absolutely. And for the people at home as well, all these code names that you're using, the 3-3 and the 363, bit of a tongue twister. We'll all put these different videos of these type of different speed stacking scenarios so people understand what the 3-3-3 is, and the 3-2-3 and whatever is going on. So that's absolutely brilliant. So let's move on, because you're also a Guinness World Record holder, aren't you? Tell us more about that.
With the Guinness World Records part, that was my main challenge to really make it that far, because as you know of, Guinness World Records is something that's very tricky to reach that level. I was actually invited to the Guinness World Records headquarters back in the beginning of 2015.
Sure.
And when we first went there, I was a little nervous back then, because they're a huge company. They've been going on since 1955, and when I was first introduced, it was just amazing, because there was like 150 staff members or something like that. There was quite
James
a lot.
went down just to show them sports stacking, and they said, actually, let's get all the staff out, all 150 staff or so, and we'll get them all watching you as well. So he had to perform in front of all the staff.
Was that quite nerve-wracking to perform in front of their staff?
It was very nerve-wracking. But I actually managed to beat one of my UK records when I was at the Guinness World Records place with 6.46 seconds on the cycle, which is the hardest for beginners to do.
And if I remember rightly, this is your third time into the show, but I think it maybe been the first time or the second time you were in. You did a sequence that was the quickest you've ever done that sequence, but you did it live at the show. So that's our claim to fame regarding the 3 second hit. So that's absolutely brilliant. And we're going to talk more with James and Roger as well very shortly here on Saturday Sports on Hcr 104Fm. Welcome back to the show this afternoon here on Saturday Sports on Hcr 104Fm. It's 26 minutes to 4 on Saturday, May the 21st. It's FA Cup final weekend, of course. Crystal Palace against Manchester United. coming up around about 5:30 live from Wembley. We have all the build-up here on Hcr 104FM this afternoon. Keep your tweets coming in at HRFM. Any questions for our special guests this afternoon? To James Acraman, sports stacking specialist is probably the best way to describe his talent here this afternoon. At HRFM on the Twitter. Get involved. Send in your questions this afternoon while we've got him here live in the studio. Kokozi.
Good afternoon. Thanks for that, Isaac. And yeah, we're back live with James Acraman and his father, Roger Acraman, a sports stacking champion. Now, the last time we had you here, you were looking forward to the World Championships.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So tell us how that went. How did you get on?
Mm-hmm. Germany was quite a challenge, it was, especially that I was put in the 19 to 24 years category, so 5 years it's been in an age category. When it came to the beginning, my hands were literally shaking as well, again. They seem to do that for like almost every World Championships I've ever been to. The 3x3, it was fairly good for the prelims. I managed to make it to the finals for the 3x3, the 3x3 cycle, doubles and the relay stack, which it's just amazing because that has never in my life of going to all the World Championships ever happened to me, like all 5, because usually for some World Championships I may make it to like 3x3, 3x3 cycle and then the relays, or maybe 3x3, 3x3 cycle and doubles like what happened in 2014, but when it came to the finals, it was petrifying for all of us as a team.
Just to give you an idea, there were 10 people who went out, 9 or 10 stackers who went out from Team UK, and the World Championships are held over 2 days. So the Saturday is all about the prelims, and you have to be in the top 10 in the world to get through to the finals on Sunday. So if you mess up your prelims on Saturday, you may as well turn around and go home.
Fantastic. And I've been in myself and Oscar, been in tournaments and kind of competition before, but we've never, I'm sure most listeners as well haven't really come across sports stacking before. How does it kind of compare, especially in the competitive force? Because I think the competition I'm used to is fairly fierce. Sometimes, quite, tribal and kind of, an angry thing. How does that work with sports stacking? Is it quite the same? Is it, kind of aggressive and in your face, and as usual sports you'd see?
It's exactly the opposite. This is one of the reasons why I like the sport so much, and I was prepared to become the UK manager, because although it's really fiercely competitive and everyone's there to try and do their very, very best, if they see someone else do well, you'll get huge big cheers and claps and people rushing around to see what your time was and so on. Even if it was a slower time than they've got, they recognise that you may have got your personal best time. And it's a very, very supportive family atmosphere. So that most of the world's champion sports stackers all tend to know each other through the internet, and they're competing and talking to each other all the time. So you're very competitive, but you're also with your friends there as well.
It definitely sounds like a fantastic kind of atmosphere that's created over.
It's a brilliant atmosphere. It's how sport ought to be. It's how you wish it would be. Yeah. Exactly.
I can see why so many people are getting drawn into this sport now. Especially the fact that you can kind of stay as a family and get as a friendly and make connections.
Well, that's the lovely thing. It's actually held over 3 days. On the Friday, there's a meet and greet where you get to meet and greet all the other sports stackers from around the world and their families as well. So it really is a lovely atmosphere that's created, and then it's fierce from then on, but it's with really good sportsmanship.
Okay, and give us an idea of how the categories are laid out and how the competition actually works out from day 1 to day 3 to the final day. How does that kind of work out as far as the channels of beginning and end and the final round? How do you get to the top?
What they do is, as I say, the Friday is where it's all about meeting and greeting everybody, ready for the prelims on the Saturday. So this whole day Saturday from 8 a.m. The doors will open at 8 a.m. Everyone's there stacking from 1 minute past 8 onwards. By the time they're in there, chuck their coat down, they're straight away stacking. Everyone's practicing, and you're given about a 2-hour time limit when you can then go forward to the judges' table when you're ready. So you're given a time limit for each sequence that you've got to be able to get forward to the judges' table. and then you're watching the scoreboard to see how well you did, and you'll see your name appear on the scoreboard after about 15-20 minutes because they're desperately trying to key in everybody's results, and you're watching the scoreboard to see how you do. So you may see yourself go first and you think, great, I'm first or whatever, but then as faster people come along and their times are entered, you sort of see your name perhaps dropping down, and that's perhaps dispiriting. Once it goes below 10, you're out for that particular sequence. Those who are in the top 10, who remain in the top 10 at the end of Saturday, they go forward to Sunday for the finals, and then the slate is wiped clean, and they're all in for the finals for the Sunday, and that's when they get their championship medals.
Fantastic. And James, we've tweeted a picture out with you with your medals, your fantastic models you won in Germany. Tell us, I know you said you're quite nervous at the beginning, but what point was it where you thought, I'm going to win this tournament? I feel really good. I feel confident. I'm stacking like a king here. I'm going to win it. What point, what was going through your mind when it came to that point?
Mainly when it comes to the finals, sometimes I'm a bit more calmer than the prelims, but for the 3c3, I was still shaking as hell for when it came to the 3c3, and I ended up getting 3.1 seconds, which it was disappointing. But for the 363, I was a bit more calmer because that's when my consistency really builds up. But for the cycle, I just did not know where that 6.8 suddenly came from for when it came to second attempt, because after my first attempt, I got an 8 point something for the cycle for that one. But when it came to the second attempt, I felt a bit more calmer. But when I just got that 6.8, it just didn't even feel like it.
Wow, fantastic! It just happens sometimes, when you got that. And I mean, how was it? Did you come up against anybody that you thought, they, real rivals? Anyone that stood out and said, that guy's really great. He's stacking really, really well. It's going to be difficult to beat him. Did you get any of that kind of rivalry coming on with anyone about at the championships?
The main stackers I had to be very wary of were mainly Ji-Wei Wu and also Kevin Elasco, as they're the main fastest stackers in my age group for their country. With Ji-Wei Wu, he did beat me in first attempt in a cycle where he came first place. But when it came to Kevin Elasco, he really shot ahead for the 3c3, but for the 363, he just really messed up, and he got like 25 seconds afterwards, and he didn't look very happy after that. But
just to explain what happens, you see, when you go to the judges' table, you have 2 warm-ups and 3 timed attempts, and that's it. So just those 3 timed attempts, and it's all over within 3 or 4 minutes. And you've got to hold your nerve, and you've got to remember your training and your technique, and go for it. But if you mess it up, that's it. 5 minutes later, you get on the train home.
Yeah. Well, it sounds absolutely incredible. And Roger, how do you feel sports stacking's coming up as yourself? And I mean, it's one of these sports that it seems to be picking up momentum, slowly and slowly. I mean, myself and Isaac have really got into it. We're kind of aware of it as well, and other people as well are talking about it. People who are listening today are really getting themselves educated about it. How far do you think it can go?
Oh, it can go all the way. I mean, we've just come back from a school in Leicestershire, Kibworth School, and they have 545 kids that they want to get every single one of those 545 kids sports stacking. Now, they're in a consortium of either 10 or 12 schools about the same sort of size in the area. So suddenly you're looking at several thousand people. Most of the schools that I think every single school we've been to have been really, really excited about the sport because they can see the educational benefits that it has for the children as well. When you get people working both hands at the same time, you're using both sides of their brain at the same time, and that helps them with all their learning. So this is why the schools are really excited about the sport. So we see it, beginning to grow and grow and grow.
Fantastic. Stay tuned. We've got a third part of this interview coming up. We're going to be talking about what you need to be a sports stacker.
This is Saturday Sports on Hcr 104Fm.
Welcome back to the show this afternoon here on Hcr 104FM. You've Isaac and Kokosi here on Saturday Sport till 6 o'clock this afternoon. It's 12 minutes to 4 here on Hcr 104FM and online at hrfm.co.uk. Special guest live this afternoon, Mr. James Acraman, sports stacking world medalist and UK record holder as well. And James, welcome back to the show, part 3 of the interview this afternoon. I wanted to chat about a little bit about the training, because is there an essence to training for sports stacking to make yourself better, feel more confident in what you're doing, going into the World Championships? What sort of training do you do? Because if we talk about other sports, of course, there'll be dietary requirements, there'll be fitness requirements. I suppose we don't need any of those in speed stacking, do we? But what sort of training do you have to do?
The main training that we usually have to do is mainly just practice every day. I mean, usually with sports stacking, for whenever I'm training, I usually train at the Team UK meetups, or training at the hotel, or training with other stackers. I mean, it's a sort of sport that you can just bring around anywhere you want. I mean, there's no requirements for having to hire out a place for training on how to on like sports stacking and so on.
They'll keep themselves motivated as well. A lot of them will be chatting to each other on Skype or whatever, and they'll be sports stacking at the same time. So they can stack and still chat with their friends at the same time. So they use that as part of their training as well.
So practice makes perfect, right?
Absolutely, every time.
Fantastic. I've got a question here. This one's from Simon on Twitter. He has got a question for you, James. He says, what's your biggest accomplishment in sports stacking so far?
Oh, wow. So, yeah. The biggest accomplishment, I'd say, is mainly it's pretty hard to say, since I've made quite an amount of accomplishments. One of my accomplishments I'm hoping to have is to actually hopefully have a movie based on my life before and whilst a sports stacker, because I've seen loads of famous people have had that.
But what are you proudest of so far?
Sorry.
What are you proudest of so far?
What I'm proud of so far, I'd say between my Guinness World Records appearance, achieving the UK records, and
Sports
Personality of the Year, which I brought over here.
Fantastic. It's certainly accomplishments to really shout about, and certainly if I had those accomplishments, I'll be telling everybody. So that's absolutely brilliant. And you do quite a lot regarding the local community, which is absolutely fantastic in Hertfordshire and East Anglia as well, in general, such as going to schools, teaching children about sports stacking. Absolutely fantastic. And also you want to start writing a book as well regarding how you got into sports stacking and how it can help children in general getting into a different sort of sport, because it's a niche sport, right?
Yeah.
And tell us a bit more about that. What kind of give you the idea to go forward with that?
I've seen loads of famous people have written biographies about their life before where they got to now. It's kind of like with Lewis Hamilton and so on. I was thinking of writing a biography for kids, but after having second thoughts, and after seeing Frank Lampard has released children's books about football and so on, so that actually gave me the idea of writing a book about my life before I became a sports stacker. And I've been working on some of the animations yesterday on giving myself the idea of how I'd like my cartoon self to look for my story. And I mainly want kids to really see, for those who are not into traditional sports and who are more into playing video games and watching TV, and I want parents out there to realise that they want their kids to get to go out more often and getting to do the sport that they're passionate of doing. Because back when I was younger, I was exactly like that. My parents were seriously worried with where I was going to end up in life. So after I got into sports stacking, that's when it's really it became a big change for us.
Yeah, James at one time, when I was playing football in the garden with him, he had no upper body strength at all. I could just more or less touch his chest or whatever and he'd fall over backwards.
Absolutely, and that's a really good answer, James. It's such an inspirational story, isn't it, really, in a sense of, seeing where you've come from to where you are now, and being, for example, UK world record holder, the championships you've been involved on, and actually finding something that you enjoy doing and you can keep on going, for the rest of your life, which is absolutely brilliant. And portraying that through a book is a great move, and I'm hoping that it can do really well for you and hopefully get published at the end of the day. So that's absolutely brilliant. One more question as well from the Twitter. This one's from Tom. He says, what's your inspiration? Is there any sporting inspirations that inspires you?
don't know. I mean,
so many to choose from, isn't there?
I know, yeah. I mean, I'd say the person who got me into sports stacking, he's a real inspiration to me to keep motivating with sports stacking and so on.
Yeah, Philip, the guy who introduced it to you.
Absolutely. So someone close to your heart that has helped you get into sports stacking. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, really good question though.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, thanks for that message, Tom, and for Simon as well for their tweets into the show. Keep your tweets coming in at HRFM if you have any questions for James. We'll read out as many as we can throughout the show. We're going to be back for the final part with James Acraman very shortly, just after 4 o'clock this afternoon. Next up is the news here on HCR 104FM, Saturday Sport till 6 o'clock. You've Isaac and Cozy for the duration.
Live across the Ouse Valley.
On FM and online.
With Coversure Insurance Services. Covering the things you care for, whatever the weather.
This is Saturday Sports on HCR 104FM.
It's 5 minutes past 4 here on Saturday Sports on HCR 104FM. It's May the 21st, Saturday. And you have HCR 104FM and online at hrfm.co.uk as well. The build-up to the FA Cup final is coming up very shortly on the show. Crystal Palace against Manchester United, live from 5:30 this evening from Wembley. Get your predictions in at HRFM this afternoon on the Twitter. And thanks for all your questions in so far for James Acraman on the Twitter at HRFM this afternoon. Hopefully we can get some more people involved in sport stacking. Fingers crossed, Roger. Yeah. Fingers crossed, because it's such a niche sport, isn't it? And just tell us about how many participants there is in the UK, because you work this out by doing a world challenge, and that kind of give you a rounded figure on how many UK participants there is in sports stacking.
Yes, every November there's what's called the Stack Up, which is where Guinness World Records see how many people around the world do sports stacking on the same day.
Sure.
So last year we managed to get a new world record of about 638,000 people around the world. 500,000 of those were mainly in America. This is where the sport really is very strong. And it's our one opportunity as well to see how many there are, because stackers are generally isolated. We got about 1,700 or so. So we're about 8th, 9th country in the world with most sports stacking people participating in the Guinness World Record Challenge.
Absolutely brilliant. And let's just talk about some of your achievements, James. Your Team GB UK holder of 8 UK records, a winner of 2 gold and 4 silver UK medals, and a staggering 18 World Championship medals, 2 gold and 2 silver. And the list absolutely goes on, James. It's absolutely an amazing achievement, and you're such a talented guy, which is absolutely brilliant news. And of course, you had the Germany, the World Championship there. You came back with some medals as well. Tell us about that.
Yeah, as I was saying before with one of the other parts, that one was quite a challenge to achieve those medals. I came third place, the Team UK squad came third place for the cycle head-to-head relay, which that was a real big achievement because we didn't make it to the top three for the 363 head-to-head relay. So with the cycle, we came third place. The cycle, which was an individual of mine, which I came second place for, which was just quite, it was really something for when I came second place. And the Team UK 363 time relay, we came third place again, which was really impressive.
Absolutely brilliant. It is impressive. The list actually goes on, James, doesn't it? And absolutely fantastic news for yourself. And I wish you all the best with progressing on in the sport itself to many more major things, which I'm sure you will do, of course. Yeah. We've got a question in here, James, and this one is from Matt, and he says, what 1 to 2 things do you believe differentiates sport stacking from other sports. So what's the best things about sport stacking? So this is kind of a promotion about sport stacking, what he's asking.
Yeah. The main best things about sports stacking is getting to meet other people who feel the exact same way as you do, and how they're not usually into proper traditional sports like football, rugby, tennis, badminton, etc. But if they're into sports stacking, it is something where you really share something in common, which it's great to see, and also they're really supporting you and wishing you all the very best for when you're about to go up to the table to do your 2 warm-ups and 3 timed attempts. And it's just amazing to see how much they really cheer you on. And if you get like the time that you've really aimed to get, everyone literally applauds to you and gives you high fives and so on, and it's just a great feeling, like that they're giving you great sportsmanship.
So a family oriented sport, isn't it? A community sport that everyone can be part of in any shape or form. There's nothing that you can't do in speed stacking. Absolutely fantastic. And it's one of these sports you don't have to be in a club to do. You can do it on your own, and even if you didn't want to join any matches or face anyone, you can do it in the likeness of your own house, and improve different abilities of your body, your mind, your sights, and different other aspects of that, isn't it? Roger, tell us more about kind of what it sort of improves and what does it help with speed stacking, because it helps quite a lot, doesn't it?
It does.
Regarding the sport.
The reason the schools are all so excited about it is that any activity which crosses the midline helps with the children with their learning abilities and their education as well. So they've found with various studies that they've done, when you're using your right and left hand at the same time, what happens is when you use the right and left hand at the same time, you're also using the right and left side of your brain at the same time, and the two sides of the brain start making new connections. Okay. So by making those new connections, as I say, that then helps them with their learning abilities as well.
Absolutely brilliant. And just before we pass over to Kokosi, because I know he's got a couple of more questions he's dying to ask you guys. I keep seeing on the desk in front of me, James, this Sports Personality of the Award, which is absolutely an amazing achievement. So congratulations for that. It's always an award, really, a sports star, whether you're in football, rugby, tennis, if it's a National Sports Personality of the Year, or even local sports. They all want to win this award, don't they? Because it's recognition for yourself as an individual, for the sport itself as well. So tell us more about that, because last year, I believe, you were runner-up, weren't you? This time round, you went one better and you won it.
Yep. So one of the awards which was going on was the Disability Award, which I did not make it to that one, but the Sports Personality of the Year, it's just completely something different. I mean, this is the sort of award that you would see Lewis Hamilton or Tom Daley win that kind of award, because they're one of the best sportsmen for the sports that they're currently part of. Before we were getting to the main awards, which I was about to win, David Croft, who is a Formula One commentator, he actually got me to show what sports stacking is all about, and then afterwards he actually gave it a try of his own, which he did fumble and scratch quite a lot, but also he was asking me like what really got me into sports stacking, and of course as I gave the answer. And also another thing is that I've got an ectopic heartbeat, which is something I have to be very wary of nowadays, and it was actually hard for me to find another sport, and he actually found that part really inspirational. So, and then afterwards, when it came to the Sports Personality Award, that one was just almost like the final countdown in a way, which when they just said my name, it was just like, oh my days, I did not expect that, and it felt like a dream, like literally. But unfortunately, when it came to the Q&A, I was not very good with answering questions afterwards.
You were stunned that you won it, weren't you? Surely.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. And I can't condemn you enough. It's absolutely fully deserved, to say the least. And congratulations on that Sports Personality of the Year, and all your medals to date as well. You're an absolute talent, James. It's absolutely incredible to meet you as well.
Thank you.
Let's pass you on to Kokosi. I know he's got a couple more questions that he wants to squeeze in as well.
Yeah, good afternoon. Back with Josh over it. Yeah, just guys, I just wanted to ask you a few more questions about the sport itself. I know we kind of mentioned it a little bit before, but talk about the actual tools you need, because I mean, something that I'm aware of is a lot of sports teams, especially the traditional sports, it's actually quite costly to get into things.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's all well and good telling kids, oh, go and do this, go and do that, but actually, it could be quite difficult to actually purchase the actual tools you need and the actual equipment you need. But tell us what you actually need in terms of raw material for sports stacking.
Yep. Well, this is a nice thing. What I really like about the sport is you actually only need one set of cups, 12 cups, and a mat. And then you just use a kitchen table, which is going to be between 29 and 31 inches high. This is why they set the regulation at that height, so it'd be most tables. And that's really all you actually need. Once you've got your cups and a mat, after a while you may want to get it by a timer in order that you can time yourself as well. I tried to discourage people to get a timer at the beginning because I want them to focus on their technique first, so get the technique right without worrying about the time and trying to go as fast as possible. So start off with a mat and a set of cups and a mat, which will cost you about £24 for the two, for the mat and the 12 cups. And when you're ready to get a timer, that's usually about another £24. So for under £50, you could be a world champion. That's all the equipment you'll need for your life. And for £50, you can reach the very top of the sport.
Well, that is fantastic. I mean, I don't think any or many sports can say that at all. Yeah. To be honest, that's another thing that makes it so great about this sport, actually. And what I did notice as well, I mean, you mentioned it earlier, James, is that when you're competing, your fellow competitors are actually cheering you on, and it sounds like it makes. I mean, if you weren't successful, it actually sounds like you can still enjoy it compared to other things as well. It seems like if the people that aren't, because obviously it's only so many medals can be given out, but it sounds like even though there's going to be some people that don't win and some people that lose, that it can still be quite enjoyable for an experience.
Yeah, it is definitely the sort of sport that it just motivates you to just keep carrying on and just literally getting to where you are now. And also with the people giving you loads of support, I've had loads of people from Team Germany giving me the support, and also my friends at college giving me the support, and also to my long life best friend Dominic Carpenter, who's been my best friend for 13 years, and he's been giving me loads of support as well. And he's also one of the other people that's just really made me want to keep carrying on. And also definitely to Isaac and many other people, definitely also the reason why I carry on, and also to my father as well, that's been motivating me to carry on. But when it comes to people that end up not getting to where they are now, but the main thing is that they tried and they did the best they can, and yeah.
Fantastic. And one more thing I wanted to ask you, Roger, actually, is that you recently started a league kind of format for sports stacking. Tell us about that.
It wasn't me. It was one of our sponsors, which was really kind of them. They've decided to set up a Premier League. And this is exciting because it's for the first time we're actually doing it where you don't just have to travel to a particular place. If you're a sports stack and you enjoy the sport, you can enter online as well. And you will be, if you go onto Skype, you'll be able to link in and see everyone down there who'll be cheering you on when you come to do your sequences, and hopefully you'll be able to watch the other people as well on Skype, so you can feel part of the competition. So if they want to be part of the league, we've already held the first one already. The next one's coming up on June the 18th. If you go onto www.thewssa.com, look for tournaments and look for the UK ones under there, and you'll see our Premier League, which is coming up.
Well, I think that is fantastic. I think that is one of the first times I've heard of sport being used online. I mean, yes. you can just imagine, like in the future, where a lot of people are connected and playing,
absolutely,
at a championship level. So that sounds fantastic. So, I mean, where else? Is that the best place to reach sports stacking?
If they, that's probably that's the best place within the UK to see what's going on in sports stacking, not just in the UK but around the world. So the WSSA.com, one word. If they go on there, look on tournaments, they'll see what's going on all around the world. They'll see that today there's the Spanish Championship, which is going on, which is where a lot of the Team UK have gone to today. That's the best place to go to.
Okay, and What's in store for you guys? What's the rest of the year hold for James Acraman and sports stacking?
Oh, wow. We've got the rest of the Premier League. There's June the 18th, September the 17th, December the 10th, which is the last of the Premier League, the 4 rounds for that.
And also the FMBE is
coming
well.
up. There's the FMBE Symposium coming up on May the 25th at Tobacco Dock in London.
Yep. Also, Team UK are currently out now in Spain for their tournament, for their Spanish tournament.
In Spanish. Yep. And the UK Championships, hopefully, will be having a UK Championships in October as well. And again, if they go onto the WSSA.com tournaments, they'll see when that is actually announced and where it's going to be.
Fantastic. Thanks again for coming in, James. Thanks again, Roger.
Thank you,
It's a
guys.
fantastic sport.
Thank you.
Look out for our Twitter for all information and some videos of how to do some sports stacking. We'll give out all information on how to get involved. Thanks again for having you guys. This is Saturday Sport with Josh and Isaac.
The King of the Belgians is Hertford's little secret.